But of course, this morning we have the privilege of having Paul Vasquez here, better known as Yosemitebear or Bear. And he's going to share his insights with us as they relate to environmental concerns and humanity's social and spiritual reaction to them. Bear is a multi-talented individual, you may know. He is an artist, working mostly in photographic and other visual arts. He's an organic farmer, a counselor, and a healer, and obviously a speaker and a teacher. Among other things, he's currently investing his gifts, energy, and resources into the Mountain Farm Healing Center, a place of holistic healing and recentering for anyone who needs it. It is to be located on his property in the mountains, where he also explores sustainable farming and alternative energy practices. His role of speaker has really exploded since the Double Rainbow video went viral in winter of 2010?
In July.
July?
July.
Okay, you took it
That's
in
when I took it.
January
in
and you
January.
posted it? Okay.
Yeah.
Which is now like an immeasurable number of hits, right? I think officially on YouTube alone it's 25 million or something like that. And of course it's posted in other locations and has countless hits. But the point is that he and his ecstatic spirit have truly become a part of the mainstream American consciousness. In many ways, this video is one of the most invasive contemporary catalysts for engaging our current culture in a reimagining of nature. Perhaps the video medium is the new nature essay, something to think about. Maybe write your essay on. Since the Double Rainbow phenomenon, Bear has been highly sought after and has traveled just about around the world, appearing on major network television, guest speaking, doing television commercials, granting well over 200 interviews, and among other honors, was nominated for a People's Choice Award. He's one of this region's resident Thoreaus, living just outside of Yosemite near Mariposa, therefore making us the nearest university to his home, and so we as an institution of higher learning adopt you. I'm most excited today about locating his experiential and spiritual knowledge in an academic setting, and granting it and the value it offers, us, and the value that it deserves. So, welcome to UC Merced Bear, ladies and gentlemen.
Thanks a lot for inviting me. Thanks for having me. Thanks for giving me your attention. So, first thing I would like to tell you is don't believe anything I say. If I tell you something, you should think about it yourself and decide if it makes sense, and if it's something that you're interested in, research it. One of my favorite tools for researching is Google. Google's amazing. So I'll be giving you guys little things to write down and research if you're interested in. There's stuff that's been really powerful in my life. So my background is I was born in the ghettos of East Los Angeles into a very violent world. It shaped who I am. It molded what I've become into. I lived and worked in Los Angeles when I was born there in '62. So I mean, I've had this amazing life. I drove a truck for 10 years, 48 states in Canada, and I got to a place where, well, I was not needing to make that kind of money anymore. My place was paid off for, my cars were paid, my kids were grown, and I told myself, what do I need to do this for? It's too hard. And so I thought, okay, well, I'm just gonna do art, and I'm gonna breed dogs. So in 2004, I stopped working the corporate structure, and I had my place paid for, and I pursued photography. I bought computers, I bought a camera, I bought dogs so I could breed dogs, and I was just like, well, I'm going to be a farmer and an artist. And farming took a while to take off. I was just breeding dogs at first, but so I mean, I got to a place where I didn't have to pay a mortgage. That was huge, and it allowed me to just be creative and to not focus on making rent. It was just such an empowering thing. And so I just said, I'm just going to do art. I'm just going to do what what I'm passionate about, and I'm not going to think about money. I'm not going to think about dollars. And so I struggled. I was living on $5,000 a year or less for those 6 years. And I always carried my camera with me. And, you know, and I've been going through this spiritual and emotional progression. You know, I looked at my life and I said, what's wrong with my life? Something's wrong with it. I'm going to try and fix it. So I worked on myself. Seminars, I read books, I did a lot of spiritual stuff, Yosemite sweat ceremonies, and so, you know, and then the other thing was I lived on this mountain that I developed myself by myself, and I don't have any neighbors. I'm just out in the middle of nowhere, as you can see from the video, and it really changed me. When you live like that, I don't know how many people have been backpacking by themselves. If you've ever been on a backpacking trip and spent several days by yourself in the middle of nowhere, you kind of start to get a little tiny taste of it. But this has been my life. I've been living on this mountain for years and years with nobody. You see my view. I don't have any neighbors. So it molded me into being able to be in tune with nature. And when you're in tune with nature, your whole life becomes a prayer. And like people think, oh, you got to pray. And well, I got into the state where I wasn't just praying, I was living that spiritual connection. And so when, you know, I was going through my life and seeing progressions, I would see, you know, development, and whenever I would get some kind of epiphany, I would say, wow, that's amazing. There would be some kind of sign. And one of the signs that was really powerful to me was that double rainbow that day. And I always have my camera, so I caught it. And I'm alone on the side of this mountain, and I've been living there for many, many years. I don't have any neighbors. And I had just come through a serious depression, and it was just after New Year's, and now I understand what my life's about. And it was Noah, because I'm building this this farm where I'm trying to get alternative energy. I'm trying to grow my own food, and it's kind of going to be like an ark. So I send that email off, and I look up, and there's all this color. So I grab my camera, and that's the video. And what's going through my mind is, this is really intense, because that camera doesn't capture it. It's an old camera, but it was really bright, and it's like, this is amazing. This video here is really important, and the audio doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what I say. I'll just delete it. I'll just put music over it or something. So I just let it flow. Was not conscious of what was happening. And so many people have, you know, thought, oh, you're on drugs, or there's some sexual overtones on it, you know. And most people don't know how to connect to spirit like I do, because when you spend so much time by yourself in nature, it lets you be in tune with these things. I'm a shaman, I do shamanism, and I know how to connect to the spirit world. And most people, they only know how to reach these higher places through drugs or sex, but that's not the only way. There's other ways to do this. I mean, ceremony, being alone in nature, these things can give you these kind of abilities. So that's what I was going through. I was out there experiencing this rainbow and letting it flow, because my mind, it didn't matter what I said, because it was just going to get deleted anyway. So when I watched it, I said, whoa, this is amazing. And I sent it to my sister, and she said, don't put that on the internet. People are going to think you're crazy. And, you know, I've always been a trendsetter, you know. I never care what people think about me. And I'm a trained fighter, and I grew up in a violent place, so I always had this thing in me where I didn't care what people thought of me, because it didn't matter, because if the bottom line is I could beat them up. You know, so you know, I never paid attention to what people thought. I put it on there, And I knew it had the power to go viral. And I sent it to everyone, and I said, this is going to be a viral video. Send it to everyone you know. Let's make this happen.
What do you do with it, like, in general? Like, that's like a big piece of property. Like,
Yeah, well, I bought the land in '88. I was 25 years old, and I just kind of thought, you know what, it's going to be good to have land with my own water on it. I have my own well. So I breed dogs. I have plans for this healing center.
Like a bunch of jobs, like you had a bunch of different jobs in different areas. How did you first get into like cinematography and like videoing and YouTube? And
Well, my dad was a photographer, and you know, there was always cameras around. So, I mean, I think I got my first camera when I was, I don't know, 7 or 8, and I just started taking pictures, you know, and the thing is, I never said I was gonna make money at it, you know. I just like, all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take images that please me, you know. And the biggest thing about photography and all of that is doing it. If you just get out and do it, if you always have a camera with you, then you're gonna get something. If you go places and say, oh, I'm gonna look for good pictures there, then things will happen. And so, you know, when I said I'm going to get into photography full time, this was in 2004. I just bought a good camera, and then I just started working it. You know, I just started doing it, and I had a lot of offers to, you know, do sporting events or do portraits or stuff like that, and I never pursued them because it always seemed to me like work, and I never wanted to work. You know, I wanted just to have fun and just do whatever I thought was entertaining, was pleasurable, was creative, you know. So I think that whether you make dollars or not is not important, as long as you just do what you're passionate about. And if you're good at it and you work it, then you'll be able to make a living at it. Anyone else? The way to find if something's right or true or not, well, I use Google a lot, but the other thing is you can use the spirit, you can use the universe. You can just say, what do I think about this? Is this true? Is this how what it really is? And you will either feel something or you'll get a sign. You know, there'll be like a rainbow or a butterfly will land on you or something, and it'll be like, wow, that means something. So that's how you can find out if something's true or not. You can just question the universe, and it will tell you. All right, anyone else?